In the vast tapestry of human history, some figures emerge whose lives touch the heart of existence. They challenge us. They inspire us. They offer a new way of seeing the world and our place within it. One such person was Muhammad, born in the Arabian city of Mecca over 14 centuries ago. To more than 1 billion people today, he is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He is considered the final messenger in a long line of prophets that includes Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. His story shaped civilizations and guides daily lives across the globe, a testament to a message that transcends time and place. His journey was not one of wealth or worldly power in the beginning, it was a journey of the spirit, a quest for truth in a time of deep spiritual searching. The world he was born into was complex, tribal loyalties and many beliefs, yet from this arid landscape a message of simplicity and unity would emerge, a message calling humanity back to the worship of one God. This man, Muhammad, would become the vessel for that message. His life story is not just history, for many it is a roadmap for living. Purpose, compassion, and unwavering faith in the face of life's greatest challenges. A message that reshaped the spiritual map of the world. Understanding his life is to understand a pivotal moment in human history. Long before he was a prophet, Muhammad was known by a special name. In bustling Mecca he earned a reputation that would define him: Al-Amin, the trustworthy, As-Sadiq, the truthful. In a trade hub, a person's word was their bond. Honesty was the most valuable currency. Muhammad, an orphan, was raised by his grandfather, and later his uncle Abu Talib. These guardians shaped his early character. He was entrusted with goods because he was reliable. People entrusted him with their valuables. His early life was humility and hard work. He worked in trade and learned responsibility. Born to the Quraysh but not wealthy, he tended flocks as a boy. Shepherding taught patience and solitude. It gave him a deep appreciation for the natural world. In the quiet he reflected on his people and their ways. These years shaped his thoughtful character. Away from city corruption he formed a foundation of integrity. His reputation reached Khadijah, a respected merchant. She hired him to manage her caravan to Syria. He returned with profits and her admiration. Impressed by his conduct, Khadijah proposed marriage. Their union was one of deep love and mutual respect. This pre-prophetic period explains the man he became, not a seeker of power. As he reached his 40th year, his retreats grew longer. He retreated to a cave on Mount Hira to seek solitude, a place high above Mecca, removed from its bustle. He was troubled by social ills, tribal warfare, the poor mistreated, idol worship. He yearned for a purer connection to the divine. His life would change forever. During Ramadan in Hira, he was visited by an angel. The angel Gabriel appeared. He was terrified and confused. The angel commanded, "Iqra," read or recite. Muhammad, unlettered, replied, "I am not one who reads." He was pressed and embraced by light until he could bear it no longer. The command was repeated. The first verses were revealed. These became the opening of the Quran. Shaken, he ran to Khadijah, filled with fear and doubt. "Cover me," he cried. She wrapped him in a cloak. Khadijah offered comfort and belief. She took him to Waraka, who confirmed Gabriel's visit. This marked the start of his prophethood. The message, "There is no God but the one God, and Muhammad is his messenger." He began with family and friends, calling people to Tawheed, peace and submission. His conviction would begin to change hearts. A bridge between the divine and the human. One man's conviction would ripple through history. The message of Islam was one thing, the man who delivered it was its living embodiment. Muhammad's character was perhaps his most powerful sermon. He didn't just preach kindness, he lived it. Hands extended offering bread, warm handshakes, gentle smiles, helping hands. His compassion extended to everyone he met, children, the elderly, the poor. He showed kindness even to animals. He mended his own clothes and helped with household chores. A leader who lived with humility among his people. He taught, "The best among people are those best to their families." His respect for others was unconditional. He taught followers to be kind to their neighbors, regardless of faith. Once he rose as a funeral passed, even when told it was a Jewish funeral. Was he not a human soul, a deep belief in the dignity of every human being? He actively listened, turning his whole body to face the speaker. In intense opposition, he responded with patience and gentleness. Despite persecution, his personal integrity was never questioned. This foundation of trust became a cornerstone of his mission, a reputation built over decades. Trust and integrity would define everything that followed. The path of a prophet is rarely easy. Muhammad endured immense hardship. For 13 years in Mecca, he and his small community faced relentless persecution. They were boycotted, starved, and tortured. Shops closed, livelihoods cut off. Some were even killed for their faith. Through it all he practiced sabr, patience. He prayed for his people, asking God to guide them. He taught endurance with grace, forging resilience and faith. In Taif he sought a new home for his message, and met brutal rejection. The townspeople mocked and chased him until his feet bled. Wounded, he took refuge in an orchard. Gabriel offered punishment. He refused. Instead he prayed, "O God, guide my people, for they do not know." His forgiveness culminated in the conquest of Mecca. He returned not as a vengeful conqueror but as a humble servant of God. He led an army yet walked into the city peacefully. Those who expected retribution found mercy instead. Standing at the Kaaba, he asked, "What do you think I will do to you?" They replied, "You are a noble brother." He announced, "Go, you are all free." This shattered cycles of vengeance and began reconciliation. Mercy proved a greater victory than any battlefield triumph. It laid the foundation for a new era of peace. His legacy extends beyond spirituality. He was a nation builder. When he migrated to Medina, he found a fractured community. Two tribes, Aus and Khazraj, had long fought. His first act was to build bridges, not consolidate power. He established a pact of brotherhood, pairing residents with migrants. They shared homes, food, and livelihoods, dissolving old loyalties. He drafted the Constitution of Medina, arguably one of the first written constitutions. It was a social contract for all inhabitants, not only Muslims. It included Jewish tribes, guaranteeing pluralism and mutual defense. The Constitution declared different groups one ummah, while allowing faith autonomy. It set rules for mutual defense and justice for all. Justice was central, impartial, and universal. He established a legal framework based on the Quran to protect the vulnerable. He championed the poor and created institutional charity. He elevated the status of women, prohibiting infanticide, granting inheritance and property rights. Women gained legal rights previously unheard of in many places. Consent in marriage became important. Property ownership was recognized. He institutionalized zakat to circulate wealth and care for society. Food distribution, soup kitchens, and Waqf institutions flourished. Hospitals and public libraries served all faiths. No one was above the law. Equality before justice. His legal and ethical framework evolved into sophisticated Islamic law. Today his legacy lives across diverse communities. His name is spoken with reverence. His model endures. For Muslims, he is Uswa Hasana, the most beautiful pattern of conduct. His life models how to live a life pleasing to God. The way he prayed, the way he treated his family, his leadership in public, and his private moments of reflection. The Quran provides divine law. His life in Hadith shows how to live it. Sunnah and Hadith guide compassion, wisdom, and grace. He is the human blueprint for spiritual excellence. As an individual, piety and devotion. Finding solace in connection with God. As a family man, a loving husband, a gentle father. As a leader, justice and humility, servant leadership, prioritizing the people's needs. As a merchant, honesty and fair dealing. One profound aspect is Rahmah, mercy and compassion. The Quran calls him a mercy to the worlds. His compassion was active, feeding the hungry, caring for orphans. Stories tell of giving water to a thirsty dog, forbidding mistreatment, encouraging care for animals. This compassion is timeless and universal. True strength is gentleness and forgiveness, worship linked to service, mercy embodied in action. By following him, Muslims cultivate compassion in hearts. The influence of Muhammad did not end with his death. Within a century, the message reached from the Atlantic to China, carried by armies, merchants, scholars, and mystics. This expansion became an explosion of culture and thought. Inspired by the Quranic emphasis on knowledge, scholars preserved and advanced learning. They preserved Greek thought and translated works into Arabic. In Baghdad's House of Wisdom and Cordoba's libraries, scholars flourished. Physicians like Ibn Sina compiled encyclopedias used for centuries. Astronomers mapped the stars with new accuracy. These works informed European universities and helped seed the Renaissance. Manuscripts passed from libraries to the wider world. Beyond science, his teachings inspired social institutions and charity. Waqf endowments funded hospitals, libraries, and civic services. Public libraries and universities opened to many. Centers of learning endured for centuries. Mathematicians developed algebra and algorithms. Their instruments advanced navigation and astronomy. Medical texts were studied in universities for centuries. These ideas built civic institutions that served diverse populations. Many were open to people of all faiths. His legal framework evolved into sophisticated Islamic law. Today, over 1.8 billion people carry his name and example. His example remains a daily source of inspiration. His final sermon affirmed human rights and dignity. The story of Muhammad is a story of transformation. From a contemplative orphan to a messenger of God, he transformed divided tribes into a unified community built on faith and justice. A regional message became a global faith shaping civilizations. From the cave of Hira to the final sermon, the arc is profound, a narrative of conviction, compassion, and trust in a higher purpose. He taught that just societies begin with just individuals. Peace in the world begins with peace in the soul. Ordinary acts of kindness ripple outward to create change. His example of forgiving enemies is a blueprint for reconciliation, a model for pluralism and mutual respect. A city where mosque, church, and synagogue silhouette together, his emphasis on caring for the poor remains central. The orphan, the neighbor, constant reminders of shared responsibility. Communities cooperating to serve one another formed the moral backbone. He spoke of peace and lived compassion, a life of compassion that builds communities, a people building homes and institutions in service. Ultimately, his influence lies in the universal appeal of his message, a call to look beyond superficial differences and recognize shared humanity, an invitation to live with purpose, act with integrity, and embrace mercy. For countless people, his life is a living guide, light for the future. One life guided by faith and service can change the world.